Okay, now we're going to keep moving. Silverman. This is our guest this week. He's been on the show before, but always leaves us wanting more. Silverman, aka, that's the last time I'm going to say his real name. So you have to remember, write it down. Silverman, aka Harold Bays, has been attending Burning Man since 1996. He is a gifted stereographer. You can't tell he's blushing at this point, or maybe he would rust or something, but he's a gifted stereographer. So let's welcome Silverman. We're all set for you. I'm going to start showing these your slides. I'm going to give me one moment while I bring them up. But thanks again for coming. You're making our the good thing, the best thing about these images, well, is they're phenomenal. The other side of it is it saves you from getting all full of sand and everything else and heading out. So here we are. Explain this one a little bit for us, and I'll put my fingers all ready to go. Thank you.
All right. Well, this is the man, a photo taken just after sunset. I didn't like the man base, also called the pavilion. It's what the man is built upon, and it burns along with the man when he burns. I didn't like it because you couldn't get close to the man, and there were no good angles for stereoscopic photography. This is the man at night, and again, because the awkward angles given the pavilion that he was built on, I had to black out the supports for his leg in order to avoid extreme window violation on this one. Now, part of the design of the man-based pavilion in 2024 were these odd stairways that went nowhere. And I guess somebody thought that was a really creative idea, but they didn't work for me, and I don't think they were very popular.
Yeah, I can see why that would be a problem. Even like a hazard in a way, that people trying to get down, trying to get up. Yeah, that didn't seem like a clever.
Hey, this mutant vehicle was called Smile High, and it was made by a man named Eric. I don't know his last name, but I thought it looked good, kind of isolated by itself on the playa here. And by mutant vehicle standards, this is a relatively crude and low-budget design. Sort of has a a homemade look. But it's important to understand that even though this one looks relatively crude, there's an unbelievable amount of volunteer effort and expense involved in creating something like this. This piece of work was called Good Fortune by Jack Champion. It's a giant grasshopper. And immediately I thought this was possibly an escape from the 1957 movie Beginning of the End, where giant grasshoppers attacked Chicago.
Do you know what this was made of? How you get close enough to touch it and bang it a little bit?
No, I did not, because I didn't want to make it silver. But
indeed.
no, I don't know what it was made of. Oh, sorry. This piece was called hashtag Kokon, which means baby unicorn. And these inflatable sculptures are a lot of fun because people can just run into them and jump on them and slam into them. The Japanese prefix ko, K-O, means innocent child, and that's why it's baby unicorn.
You can get the scale by looking down to the right and seeing that person. It gives you a good idea of scale.
Yeah, and he's slamming into the thing. This is called Inside Her by artists from New Jersey. I played around a bit with the virtual window so that she came through the window. You might not recognize it, but those metal ribs are exactly the wood of the chest of the Burning Man that's in the distant background there. So in a sense, what is inside her is the man. This photo was taken with the Fuji W3. It's the only photo this year that I got using the W3.
Oh, and I see what you did. So you didn't really Photoshop. You just took out that bottom half by the top of a thigh there, right?
Right, and then I set the stereo window to about where that lamp is.
That's
so
great.
She's in front.
It's very creative. It's great, man.
This piece is called I'm Fine, and it's from Ukraine. It's made mostly of bullet-ridden street signs that were, harvested in Ukraine. And it's meant to represent the strength and resilience of the Ukrainian people.
Why are those people lined up in the left-hand corner? Or they just...
They are waiting to read an inscription that explains what the piece is about.
Gotcha.
This statue is called Liberty. It's by Michael Binesty. And I didn't care for his statue this year. My background is one of his earlier works. I didn't care for this one. It's 58 foot high. It's very thin. And I had a difficult time capturing it in stereo. I was just informed today by Dorothy that this was recently installed in Aurora, Colorado. A criticism of Michael Binesty's work is that he doesn't, in fact, make these statues himself. They're fabricated for him by a company in China. And you can actually order smaller versions of his work from that Chinese factory. Another question about his work is a lot of people find his designs to be relatively trite, not really original. But, everybody is a critic.
Ah, right. So this is, how tall is it? You said I passed by too quick.
58 feet high.
That's 5-story. That's big, man. Oh, wow. How is it? Was it guyed in? I don't see any guidelines, but how the hell did that thing stay up?
No, it was just independent. It had a very strong base. I'm not sure how it was secured to the ground.
Amazing.
This is a better view of Liberty, giving you a sense of the scale. And you can see how tall and thin it is. And in the foreground is a mutant vehicle named Air Pusher that has been around for quite a while. It's built on a 1985 Dodge pickup truck. And on the way back from Burning Man 2002, it was in a collision. They raised $40,000 in donations to repair it and bring it back. And, part of that is you have to keep in mind how difficult and expensive it is to maintain these mutant vehicles and bring them out to the desert every year. This was my second most favorite piece of art for 2024. And this is named Tall Tales. It's made by Clifton Lesh of Bozeman, Montana. It's a jackalope made of metal with amazing detail, as you can see. Of course, the saddle was real leather, and people were climbing up and riding it all day long. Now, if you have enough spare cash, you can buy this for just $500,000.
Oh, that sounds reasonable.
This is another angle of Tall Tales. This was taken on Monday morning. Burning Man is a week long, starts on Monday, ends on a Sunday. Some people, including myself, stay around on Monday after the event is officially over. And it's a good time to get photos because there are fewer people around. Unfortunately, on Sunday night after the burn of the temple, there was a huge dust storm. It brought nice clouds to the sky, but it also covered everything in dust. And just that morning, Monday morning, it was clear, and I was able to get a lot of photographs. But then about noon, we were hit with 12 hours straight of the most extreme wind and dust storm that I've experienced.
Wow. That you've experienced. So that had to be major.
Yeah, and that's almost 30 years ago and out there.
Wow.
This piece was called Rushmore by Mr. and Mrs. Ferguson of Alameda, California. These artists have made similar statues in the past, and the animals are covered with pennies. That's the texture you see are coins. I think mostly pennies. I don't know if they use other coins. But obviously they must dye these pennies to get the different colors.
Quick question before we begin with that. You said you used a W3 on the images a few back. Are you shooting with W3 now, or what are you shooting with? What are you getting these with?
Oh, yeah, I could go into my equipment. Primarily, I use Sony RX0 Mark II cameras that are paired. This year, I also used a pair of Samsung NX 1100s and a pair of Canon T5 DSLRs. That's what I shot the Burn of the Man with. But I also have some traditional stereo cameras rather than twinned cameras. I used a Qualcomm Ego I used the W3, as I mentioned, and the Calf VR 180 camera.
Tell us a little about this image.
Okay, so this piece is called Dream Slide by William Menetoff of New Orleans. Obviously, it's a stained glass unicorn, and if you look closely, you'll notice it's also a slide.
Oh, look at that. Right. Wow. And that's a giant piece of glass as the unicorn, right? As the horn on the unicorn.
I think it's multiple pieces, but yeah.
Interesting. Wow. There we go.
And this is, it was fun for all ages. I was too busy taking photos to go down the slide, unfortunately. There are so many artworks that are interactive, but since it's a challenge to try and get the photographs, so I don't really have time to interact with some of the art.
If you went down, everybody afterwards would know that you went down.
Yeah, that's another reason. Yeah,
I'm thinking, yeah, that would be the silver. They would the silver slide. It would be them.
Yeah, yeah. This is the same piece at night, and it's really amazing how different a lot of the artworks look at night. And so sometimes I try to get the same shot during the day and at night from the same angle, so you can see the contrast. This piece is called Gaia Weeps by artists from Grass Valley, California and Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's a smaller work, but I found it interesting. It was best viewed at night. It involves video screens on that cube, and if you look in the globe, there's a fire there. This is called Typha by Taylor Dean Harrison of Pin Grove, California. This photograph is really growing on me, but it doesn't really capture the intent of the art piece. Inside those tubes were LEDs that shone through the holes in the tubes, and at night they created patterns on the playa surface. And of course, that's not captured in this photo. The title of this is Untitled by artists from Athens, Greece. And I think this stereo photo captures the piece well. A flat photo, I don't think, could do justice to this. It really needs to be seen in 3D.
In 2D, it was nothing. I'm sure anybody that took a picture of it wings right past it. But this is, this with the way the shadow was cast, it's all beautiful.
Yeah. This piece was called Sky Gazing by Patrick Sharon and Poetic Kinetic Studio from Colorado Springs, Colorado. It was sort of a colorful flying carpet hanging above people's heads. This is part of a piece called Nebula Rider, Goldie, and Minnie by Adrian London of Reno. Obviously, this is a steel Pegasus. I think it's one of 3 animal statues. What I find interesting about this photo is my shadow is right in the center of the shadow of the Pegasus.
Yep. I would not have noticed that. Yep. And now this seems to be like bolt holes on the bottom, I think. What is that to do so they can get it in there? You know what I'm saying? Like it looks like there's little holes in that. What was that base made out
of? It's steel.
Steel.
Oh, the base. Yeah, the base is also steel. All right. This is called The Cream Dream by Jesse Shambles Idol and the Cream Team from New Orleans, Louisiana. It was a giant inflatable ice cream cone. And this artwork wasn't out on the playa. It was in sort of a intersection within the camping area, the city, which just gives it kind of a different background because you see all the tents and
it's nice how you line the sun up behind it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I applied a little local, what do you call it? Yeah. To get the effect of the rays coming down.
Yeah. It looks great.
Okay. This is called Mona Mushroom by some artists from China that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce their names. The theme for 2024 was Curiouser and Curiouser, which most people essentially interpreted as meaning Alice in Wonderland. So this fit the theme quite well. This is called Slow X Raven's Temple by students of Estonia Academy of Art and artists from Clear Lakes, California. So artists from Estonia and California. This was another Monday morning photo after the burn and after the dust storms. And this is growing on me. It's becoming one of my favorite photos from this year. This piece was aptly titled Rhinoceros by Barry Crawford of Silver Springs, Nevada. Again, taken on Monday morning after the dust storms. And for the whole of the week, this rhino was just a rusty brown color. Yeah, but the playa dust getting blown into each little crevice really brought out the texture and detail. This mutant vehicle is named Glory Dragon, and the principal artist fabricator is Sean Orlando, someone I camped with many, many years ago. But obviously he had a whole team and substantial financial support to create this. And it sort of is a contrast, the opposite of Smile High. It's very clear there was substantial money put into creating this, and it's a very polished work of art.
And that moves. Does that move?
It does, and the wings fold.
That's reasonably terrifying.
This is another shot of the Glory Dragon, showing how the animated LED panels can change quickly. As I mentioned, the wings fold and retract when it moves. It's built on an airplane tug, those vehicles that pull airplanes around at airports. And this was shot with my twinned Sony RX Zeros, and the sync is just a little bit off.
I guess it shoots flames. That's a flame at the top there, right?
Yeah. That was difficult for me to capture. I tried.
Nice job.
Yeah. Now, I included this shot to give you an idea of what it's like to camp. And that's my tent in my car. I sleep in my car. And my Prius, as I mentioned, there was this extreme dust storm that lasted 12 hours, my last day there. And right after I got home, I traded in that for a new Prius. So.
Wise decision.
Now, this was taken with my pair of Samsung NX 1100s. And I had high hopes for that twinned camera rig for night work because I was able to get synchronized flash with it. But unfortunately, I discovered that most of my night shots were out of focus and poorly synced. This is just a decorative octopus on a camp shade structure. So, not all of the art is out on the playa or officially designated as art. But this octopus worked well because, tentacles have a good habit of reaching through your window. This is titled Banana for Scale by Belgian artist Carolyn Kam. And it's a reference to the internet meme, if you're familiar with it, where a banana is added to a photo to give you a sense of scale. But here we have a censored Silverman to give you a sense of scale. Note the giant traffic cone in the distance. It's being prepared to be burned later that day on Wednesday night.
Well, don't feel bad if we use this for a caption this one way up the road.
This piece is called Release by Dana Albany of San Francisco Bay Area. It's about 33 feet high. And if you look closely, you'll see it's made of highly detailed metal butterflies.
Oh,
this
wow.
is a shot of Release at night. And again, it dramatically illustrates how things can look very different at night. It's a glow with color from both internal and external lights.
How many things illuminate at night?
Essentially, everything has to be illuminated at night because, including people and bicycles, because if you're not lit up at night, you're what's called a dark wad because you have the risk of someone running into you, you know,
I might,
or a
I
safety.
might, yeah, I might take that dark wide. I like already. You know, I stole the from Robot Monster. You're making my helmet hurt. So dark
Yeah.
wide is now part of my lexicon.
You don't want to be a dark wad.
No, you don't be dark wide. I'm going to use that. Uh, I know, I know if you don't. No, let's continue. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is called Finding the Light by Kevin Necessary of Bend, Oregon. It's another shot taken Monday morning between dust storms. And I think these stained glass objects are a good motif for playa art. This is called Planetary Playground by Rainbow Girl of Reno, Nevada. It shows in this shot we have the Earth and the Moon. There was also Mars. But these celestial objects are unfortunately not to scale, but the people on bicycles provide scale.
Oh, man, it looks like it was dusty that day.
Yeah, that's just, the dust in the air. It was relatively calm.
Do you recall what these are made of?
No, I imagine some sort of plastic.
Well,
I know they're in
let that be the last time I ask. So these are great photographs. You don't have to know how, how they, that's all good. I'm going to continue.
All right. Well, this is a photo just to give you, you need to get a feel of the chaos of the nightlife. And I don't know the names of these mutant vehicles, but that tripod laser monster in the back was really impressive. We're talking huge. And it reminds me of something out of War of the Worlds. All right. This was the burning of Coney McConeface. That was the name of the giant traffic cone that was burned on Wednesday night. I shot this with the Samsung rig with just basically a normal interaxial, not hyper. Now this shot shows obviously the cone shape of the fire and some of the fire tornadoes. Those burning embers were falling on me, and yes, they hurt. What
Wow.
do you? Yeah. Now, after the burn, I went back to get my bike, and it was gone. And this was Wednesday. So my bike had been taken, and unfortunately, in the basket of my bike was my driver license. So
Gosh.
I was a bit unhappy about that, and it was very inconvenient. But more on that later. This is the Temple of Together, this year's temple. Every year at Burning Man, they build a temple, and it's a place where people leave memorials to lost loved ones or other sorts of emotional tributes. And it's burned on Sunday night in a very emotional ceremony. I thought this year's temple was a good design. I like how in the entryway you see two hands coming together with a spark of light.
Oh, that is beautiful.
This is a detail of the exterior of the Temple of Together, shot at night. And I'm surprised, but if you have enough resolution, you can make out stars as well as the lights of the temple in this exposure. This is looking up the center spire in the center of the temple, and this was taken a little after sunrise. This is definitely my favorite piece of 2024, and I think many other people. It's called Naga and the Captainess. It's a sea serpent that has destroyed a wooden ship.
Is that wooden? Are we going to see that wooden ship in the next shot? Because I see people climbing on a mast over there, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Ah, there we
Right.
go. I gave it away. I gave it away. Yeah.
This is the bow of the sunken ship. Notice the crow's nest. It was very dangerous to climb up that crow's nest, and I heard that someone was seriously injured in a fall. But nonetheless, I climbed up, naked and silver, and carrying a monopod and a twin camera rig. And after all of that risk and effort, I got up there, and none of the photos from the crow's nest were any good because it was moving,
Mm,
and they were blurry.
You're like the hood ornament. Well, the hood ornament's up here, but that's fascinating. Somebody's got a good picture of you up there, pal. I'm sure of that.
All right. This is Naga, the sea serpent at dawn. And if you'll notice, there are treasure chests strewn about. They contained interesting objects. This is Naga's head and the crescent moon in the background. Naga was constantly blowing bubbles from its snout, but they don't show up in this shot. This is a photo of the Black Rock Philharmonic, which is a volunteer symphony orchestra that perform at Burning Man. They had just finished a performance at the Naga and the Captainess installation. I shot this after the performance ended. David Silverman, producer of Simpsons, played his flaming tuba during the performance. And I recorded most of it in VR 180 using the CALF camera. And I put some of the videos up on DEO VR. This is part of the art piece called Down the Rabbit Hole. And this shot I didn't include on my website. And I should mention that every year I take my best shots and I put them all up on my website. And then I feel bad because I don't have anything new to share with people. This is one of the shots that one of 10 in today's pictures that are not on the website. And this one's not on the website because it had a common problem, which is my shadow was prominent in the image. So I digitally removed my shadow. And if you notice, you might see that the playa is elevated a bit in front of the rabbit. So the Man Burn, which is my annual hyper stereo photo challenge. I had made plans and to use my 8-foot wide bar and a pair of Canon T5 DSLRs, but I had not worked out a plan for getting my 8-foot hyperbar above the crowd because you have to be elevated or else you get things in the foreground blocking. And I mentioned this problem to a wonderful gentleman named Rupert Hart. And he has a mutant vehicle called Joyism. And he volunteered the use of his 8-foot tall stepladder. And he brought it out to the burn on the mutant vehicle Joyism. So I had my 8-foot wide camera bracket up on about 9 feet because, on the top of this 8-foot stepladder.
It's a great shot, man. That is gorgeous. And now I realize I know what you could call a dark wide now. When you're shooting 3D, any head in front of you is now a dark wide. I'm going to use that. See, but let's continue. Wow.
All right. Now this shot captures a fireball in its early stage. The next shot will show you a frame about a third to a half second later. And the interesting thing about before the mushroom cloud here is that I really like how it captured the volume of the smoke and the way that there were rockets encircling it. And then, of course, in this, the final frame here, if you look closely, you can see the man still burning down there, right in the center under the mushroom cloud. As I mentioned, I used the Canon T5 DSLRs. This year, I'm going to use my twinned Sony Alpha 5100 cameras using prime lenses. And I hope to get some practice with something of similar distance and similar, exposure parameters so I can get a little practice.
Well, and that's the last shot, right? Let me put my camera back on. Oh, there we go. That was now. What is like an internal zen you have in terms of figuring what camera you're going to use because you can't use all of them. And you don't seem like you have pockets on your outfit.
No, no.
No. So how do you make a decision? What
Uh,
you gonna go ahead?
yeah, well, primarily the most convenient are the Sony RX Zeros because they're very small and I can adjust the interaxial between 60 millimeters and 87 millimeters. So that gives me some ability to adjust to what I'm shooting. And then at night, as I mentioned, I thought I would specialize for night photography using the Samsung NX 1100s because my ability to sync flash with it. But yeah, as I mentioned, also it was disappointing because there was too much inconsistency, lack of sync, and it didn't focus well in the night scenes.
How did the cameras hold up with between all the sand and which one survived? Because you had to lose something.
I've had no problems with these cameras, but the history of this is for about 9 years. I used primarily a pair of Canon um, G1X cameras, and they were great. But after 9 years of going out to the playa, you could see the dust inside the lenses, and I had to retire those. So then I switched to the Sony RX Zero and Samsung and the other Canons.
Do you count on that one shot getting it, or do you take several images to be confident you nailed it?
Well, for most things, I take 3 or 4 shots, but I
Let's see.
even here's the thing that's frustrating is Burning Man has got to the point where there are probably 100 pieces of really good art that I didn't even see, much less photograph. So,
Was that because you lost your bike? Did you ever get the bike back anyway, man? The bike ever show
oh
back up?
yeah, closure to that story. Interesting thing about bikes is they are commonly stolen, and there seems to be two things that are happening. Some people are stealing bikes to resell them, but also one of the principles of Burning Man is you're supposed to be radically self-reliant. You're supposed to come there with everything you need to take care of yourself for a full week. But a lot of people show up and they don't have a bike, right? So they're walking around and they just will grab anybody's bike and just take off with it. And that's basically what happened to me because, okay, so Wednesday, the bike disappeared and I was very inconvenienced and frustrated. My driver license was
Uh,
lost. So I kept looking for it. I went to the Lost and Found. I talked to the law enforcement. But to get to the conclusion of that, Sunday night before the man burn, I was walking around, preparing to shoot the burning of, not the man burn, sorry, the temple burn Sunday night. I was preparing to shoot the temple burn. I was walking around and there was my bike. Whoever had been using it the last 3 days, just left it with a bunch of other bikes. And there it was. Everything was there. They could have easily locked it, or something. And then I would have had more headaches. But basically, I got my bike back and it was just inconvenient for a few days.
would that not freak out the Burning Man burnout if they showed up and you were standing there, Silverman?
Yeah. Well,
it'd be like Superman just showed up. Okay.
yeah.
Now yeah. Well, it's good that you got it back, man. You see, it's good karma, man. That's the kind of guy you are, and I'm glad that worked. And you didn't let that bother you. You went out and did what you needed to do. That's what you have to do. Just recover from stuff like that. A big thanks to this week's guest, Silverman, aka Harold Bass. Thank you. And thanks to our amazing crew for making this all possible. Stereo Doro, Jay Kuznets, Jim Harp, Joe Podoto, Paul Hutchins, Herb Winter. And thank you for stopping by to see what you've been missing in 3D. See you again in September. Until then, don't be stingy with your camera. Share your joy, count your blessings. And I'll keep going because there's no problem with me to keep talking. You know that. There's no issue there. Let's see if I have a thing to do.
We can always
yeah.
plug the convention. I think we've already plugged it, but why not give it another plug? Minneapolis, August 3rd through 11th. Is that right?
If you haven't been to one, they're quite fun. People of like mind. I don't know if Silverman is there. He'll come partial. He'll come the censored Silver, the PG Silverman. Yeah, well, it's yeah,
Yeah, there's Dorothy's kindly put some more information about the convention
excellent. That'll be
in
down
the
there.
chat. But yeah, that's not to be
Hey,
missed. It's gonna be a good one, I'm sure.
you know
Oh
what?
yes, we do have a caption poll. Is that
Good, good. Put that up right now. And I'm getting ready to get out of here. I'll be right over to see you guys
so
in 2
much
minutes.
going
Go
on.
ahead.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, we do have a
Yep.
poll for the caption this.
It's ready. I'm ready.
So go
Well, you
ahead
know,
with the caption poll first.
Yeah.
run it, and we're going to run right through it. Again, thank you all for showing up. Wonderful people. Done a great job for us all year. We're going to have a lot of fun in September. We've got a lot of things planned. And have a great summer. Have a safe summer. Like I said, don't be stingy with your camera. And of course, I heard you say it. Share your joy, count your blessings. I'll see you guys later. Hey, and go to johnnylaser.com and listen to music and see. And don't tell me if you don't like it, by the way. Just say you love it. Okay, you make me feel better. Here we go, I believe.